Hi, everyone. Welcome to Samba Souq podcast, where Brazil meets the Middle East in business, culture, and curiosities. We always invite special guests, and today's episode wouldn't be different, right? So I'm very happy to have here with us Souha Hasan. She is a tycoon in branding and retail in the region. She's the vice president of the mainstream business for Magrabi Group. Souha, your experience is very rich, and I want you to explore everything that you can here in this episode. But people need to understand a few things. To learn how to tap into this market, to understand the nuances, the insights that they can get, to understand trends, culture, behavior of consumers, and to see untapped opportunities that this market can bring.
So first of all, my pleasure. I'm so excited to be here and so excited about our conversation. We've been talking about doing it together for the past, I think, few months. So we're finally here. So what can I say about myself? I've been here in this country for the past 20 years. Worked with different global brands, but local brands as well. And within my capacity for, with different brands, I worked closely with the brands, global brands and international brands that wanted to expand in this region. And any specific into retail and beauty business. Today, in eyewear business, again, a consumer's brand that is very relatable to the lifestyle of our consumers. What can I say about myself?
That we studied together and we're very good friends.
Yeah. Okay. So me and you, we studied together. We did our, masters together in Dubai, and this is how we met. And then we kept, connections, and we became good friends for the past 10 years. I'm absolutely glad to be here with you today.
Me too. I'm very happy. And this is the first tip for everyone. When you get into the networks of the UAE, you build connections with amazing people. So we're mutually happy to be here with each other.
Absolutely. I think the best advice I can give to everyone that your social currency is absolutely critical in this part of this region because, we love connections and we love, to build relationships, of course, authentic ones. And even within, when you do business here, having the right connections
matters a lot.
Matters a lot,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, so the first question regarding this, whenever people are coming here and starting businesses, you worked with very big names globally,
I
right?
did.
And what is the first non-negotiable step whenever a brand is launching here in the UAE, tapping into not only the country, but the GCC market?
It's a very important question. It's absolutely your main goal and objective is to find the right partner for you in this region. And the region is very well connected. So UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, those countries are very well connected. And even if you want to take it one step further and consider Levant, so if you want to consider even Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, the region is very well connected and, of course, part of the overall global holistic. What's non-negotiable is absolutely to find the right business partner for you. Common values are very important.
Yeah.
A partner that is expert in your field of business. And you need to do your homework before you really decide on that critical aspect for your business.
How to do this homework? I think that's in the mind of everyone watching right now.
Find experts that they can do it for you. No, jokes aside. So if you are into, let's take a small example. If you are into beauty business, for example, there are very well-known groups who is running the show and who are leaders when it comes to the beauty industry. So it's absolutely critical that, you do your mapping very well. And you study the market in order for you to decide between group A, B, C, who is able to understand your business very well, your brand very well. There is an operating business model that you need to build. So, of course, everything around their expertise, scalability, the attention, to your brand, and anything around exploring, how would you penetrate the market is very critical. So I would go, in business, we always go into business plans for sure. like, you know, who's able to give me the 3 to 5 years business plan, who's able to launch my brand in this region, but as well maintain it and giving me the growth expected and scale it. But on the other side, who's really able to understand my business model. What is my revenue streams? What's my costing structure? Why my brand is different than any other brand in this region and globally?
Yeah.
So those are very critical questions.
I love when you say about team and about values.
Of course.
Because the business plan, the technical part, we can do our research, and the more prepared you come to this market, the better, of course. But then it comes this subtle situation where finding the partner may not reflect the values of your company, the values of the founders, the team. Do you have any suggestion on how companies could assess that to minimize any risks that they may have?
Open conversations. I mean, to start with, if you're coming to this region and you're trying to build your business, launch your brand, regardless of the industry, I'm sure you're going to have lots of open discussions. I'm sure you're going to assess the profile of your partner. You have to look into their mission, vision, values. How do they run their business? Try to assess, I would say, the organizations or the companies that they are pitching to your business through the team you're going to meet.
And you have to be here to do that, right?
Yeah, you have to be here, absolutely. And, you know, there is something in business that sometimes you think that the region, sometimes you can't take it for granted. So if you're successful in Brazil and you are top brand and you want to come here and replicate that success, it's very critical that, first of all, you reflect on your own business model. How did you made it in Brazil? Why your consumers in Brazil love your brand and engage with your brand? So you need to have those same questions and reflect on your learnings, even though it's a completely different region, but try to assess and try similarities, you know?
Exactly. I was going to say that it will be different.
It will be
by
different.
Default. It's a different culture, it's a different geography,
100%.
different habits, but your essence as a brand, right? So you need
Your
to
DNA.
see what actually made it there. So these are the non-negotiable traits of your brand to expand in different markets.
Absolutely. So we always, and that's my, I would say, I don't want to say my own recommendation, but the overall recommendation from any expert, anywhere you go, is the relevance and localization, right? You come here, you have your own DNA, and you're a very successful brand. However, there are, you know, the specifications of this market. You need to still maintain your DNA, but you need to be relevant.
Yeah.
And you need to be connected to the communities, and you need to try to understand, you know, the consumers' habits in the Middle East. Consumers' habits, by the way, even though they're very similar in GCC, but sometimes, you know, between UAE and Saudi Arabia, you need to have, you know, a certain kind of localizations.
Yeah.
So you need to consider consumers' habits. You need to consider your positioning. Definitely, you need to maintain your positioning. You can't, I would say, renegotiate your positioning. If you are a lifestyle banner in Brazil or a lifestyle brand in Brazil, you want to come here and be a lifestyle. You can't be premium.
Exactly.
Correct?
So you cannot be premium in Brazil and come here
and be luxury
projecting
or
department
mass.
stores that are for
Absolutely.
the average. Yeah.
And this is where I felt, or this is where I meant by your operating business model. So if you are a business that operates in a standalone alone or on e-com, or if you are an omni-channel business, you try to come here and you need to figure out how to be an omni-channel business as well, how to figure out or to find a partner that will give you access to real estate and try to go into, I would say, standalone stores and retail. I'm specifically, you know, talking here about retail.
Yeah.
What if you are in, you know, a brand within a multi-brands retailer? You need to find who are like the leaders within that industry in multi-brands retailer and try to figure out how really to express the same strategy, however, with the full relevance and localization. You need to consider the local key commercial moments in this region. You need to consider, you know, it's not a secret. You need to consider how to reflect your business in a key moment such as Ramadan.
It's so interesting because we always tend to advise companies, if you're raising funds, if you're coming to do meetings, if you're coming to the region during Ramadan, it may be a slow moment for you to pick up and accomplish whatever you want to do. However, this year in particular, I've seen such a busy Ramadan, full of events, full of brand activations, and very genuine, very like, let's celebrate our relationships here, let's nurture these relationships. And I saw from a different angle that exactly what you're saying, see special occasions in this market as opportunities for localization.
And to connect.
And to connect.
To connect with the community.
Exactly.
You know?
So I think that nowadays it's becoming not so much seasonal anymore. It's becoming an ongoing, regular, active market that is different from 15 years ago.
Absolutely. Right? We call it always on. So you're always on as a business, trying, to figure out how to scale your business and how to keep the momentum and the sustainability. However, during a key commercial moment such as Ramadan, for example, this is where, you explore your opportunities and how to connect to the community, how to give back to the community, how to express your global brand with a local flavor. That's very important, you know, when you come to this region. And with the right team, the right partner, the right expertise, they will advise you on the right strategy. They will advise you during Ramadan on the right activation. If you are a big brand and you want to go into a campaign, Ramadan is the right moment where, you showcase your connection to the community and understanding of such an important key moment for our consumers.
Do you have any tips for people to localize here, their brand or their company?
So, do I have any tips? I think it's not, it's more about the learnings, more than anything else. So what I've learned personally throughout the past 20 years experience, and I've seen many brands, and I've worked with many brands that they come to this region sometimes and, they expect success from day one.
Yeah.
So it takes a leap of faith, definitely, but it takes lots of work and upfront work on how to launch, your business in this region. Again, how to figure out the right operating business model. I would say the very critical aspect here is to find or to establish not only your partner and business model, but to establish your team. And you need a team or your leader here or your representative or key voice, I would say, if you decide to launch a business here and establish an office and hire a CEO, my recommendation, hire a CEO that is basically understand the business, who has done the business in this region before, who scaled brands before, worked with international names and understand the consumer's habits. So with all my respect, don't bring someone, who is a superstar in US and expect them to come here, knowing nothing about this market and just, I would say go full on success from day one. Of course, that's not going to happen. If you are not aware, if you are not part of this region, if you didn't work with this region, you will need time to learn about this region.
This point is amazing because many times brands or companies, they bring their own team that never worked in this market or worked remotely with this market a few times a year, and they expect to perform well just because they know about the company, although they don't know that much about the market. And I think a combination of both would be ideal.
It's very important.
But it's very important to have the market experience.
Absolutely.
Right?
How to define your target personas in this market versus your target personas somewhere else, even though we're maintaining the positioning. How to develop your pricing strategy. That's a big piece. And then, of course, every brand has its own strategy, but it's all about the execution, as we know. So don't count on your 100% team that you're bringing them from anywhere from the world. You need the local expertise. You need, someone who has already been there, who has done it. And then in order for you to establish really a great business model in this region.
Yeah. My other question is also something that I hear all the time. This market has everything. UAE has everything here from all over the world.
Yeah.
And it comes to the conclusion that maybe it's a saturated market. But brands are still coming. Nothing stops. There's always something new. Have you ever seen anything like that in terms of brands trying to tap into this market, but considering it's saturated?
Absolutely. Look at the beauty business. It's oversaturated. We're all aware of the opportunity. Consumers in Middle East and GCC in specific, they're very expressive. They're very much, they follow the trend. So I would say, if you are a brand that want to come here and venture into beauty, which is oversaturated, number one question, why would the consumers in Middle East favor my brand versus anything they've been using, historically, or anything that they love? So you need to figure out your, I would say, entry strategy. As we've said, what is the right partner, the right retailer, my operating business model. However, how can I create my key competitive advantage? It's a red ocean, absolutely. And I'm not saying here go create your blue ocean, no. But you need to figure out, what is your key differentiated point? What are your key competitive advantage? However, within this market in specific, your key competitive advantage maybe when you look at Brazil or US or Europe, and here we're talking about Brazil in specific. So you do your homework as a business, and you would figure out your key competitive advantage for Brazil. When you come here, you need to do the same exercise, considering the market of the region itself. So, and you need to absolutely keep your always on communication. So again, because I worked with the brands, probably that's why I mention brands all the time.
Yeah.
It's all about when not only to figure your key competitive advantage and tell it to your consumers. When you design your campaigns, your communication strategy, your marketing strategy, your storytelling around your key competitive advantage is very important.
Yeah.
It's not a one-time off. It's an always on.
Always on. I love that. Yeah. I really like this expression. How can you capture attention in this market when you're coming? Because fine, you have many brands, you still have your competitive advantages. Do you have any example from what you've done in the past that like this worked very well to capture attention here?
So creating noise, absolutely. Like everybody will come and tell you, you need to come in and create noise. That's a very like a cliche, right? But sometimes creating noise, big noise, could be very costly for businesses. I would say grabbing the right attention is through your capturing your niche, your target customer. So you need to design your strategy based on your target consumers and based on the industry. So I can give you an example of Drunk Elephant, for example. Of course, I worked with Shiseido Group. I had the privilege, to work with Drunk Elephant team in US to, within the group, within Shiseido Group, to design the launch plan in this region and to find the right strategy. So, for example, Drunk Elephant is a brand very popular. People that love it, they want that brand. And one of the big key questions we had is how to ensure the success that is achieved in US and everywhere else in the world to be achieved in the Middle East. And this is where you had that open discussion with the brand and design your entry strategy. For example, would you go exclusive with one retailer versus another one? That's a big question. If you go exclusively, how would that look within
the pros and cons?
Exactly, pros and cons. And then when you want to launch your brand, so do you follow the brand global strategy of like, you create the teaser, you start to give some cues to the consumers, to the target customers, sending the message out that you're gonna land soon in the Middle East. And so what
you do create some expectation.
You do, of course, you create some expectations. You work on the pre, during, the post, and then you assess your strategy and you assess your results and you reflect on what worked versus what didn't work. And again, it's not a one-time noise. It's not I come in, I go big. It's not about that.
And then go quiet.
It's not about that. It's about your target customer.
Yeah.
It's about what you need to do pre your launch and then during and post. And then how do you really evolve? And how do you create your always on strategy? How you create your sustainable business model? I would say not only in Middle East, but everywhere. The competition is very aggressive for sure. But if your customers know the value of your business, if your consumers in retail and in beauty or in eyewear, they know the quality of your product, the quality of your business, the quality of your service, I guarantee you they're going to stick around. There would be good reason for them to stick around. However, you really need to, in your storytelling as a business, to always focus on always on. Doesn't have to be big budget. It has to be with your consistent messaging. It has to be with you as a business, how you are evolving, how you are responding, how are you, are you able to speak directly to the consumers and convey your business message or not? And really how to stay relevant, I would say, in this region. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 5. And with the right, partner and expertise, I'm sure you would be able to do that.
Yeah. And as a mid-sized company that wants to tap into this market, because you worked with so many different stages of companies, big brands, but also the ones that are growing.
Yes.
They want to tap into this market. How do they get relevant here and attract the eyes of the consumers? Because you need to invest, you need to make a big noise, you need to be always on. What would you say? Would you say that coming with these big partners, or maybe considering online digital opportunities for them to start building from, like, slowly but surely,
So it depends on your business model back home. If you are a digital first brand in Brazil, or if you are a digital first business in Brazil, I would say it goes without saying, you might come here and try to assess the opportunity of digital first. And of course, e-commerce is very big in this region and growing. And I can assure you it's one of the fastest growing channels for businesses. However, retail as well, it's very important here. So because there is the mall culture. And in Saudi, for example, it's not about just malls. It's about streets, it's about communities, it's about plazas. So I would say reflect on your own business, but you need to consider the omnichannel, absolutely. So you need to consider venturing into different distribution channels, because you need to reach your target customer. And then again, I just want to repeat, it's not really about going big from day one. It's not about creating that huge buzz and big budget, not at all, especially if you are, I would say, a medium to small business, but you have a very, you have a strong key competitive advantage within your industry. If you have a great product, a great value for consumers. And then I would say when you study this market and when you look into the value map that we all learned in business school, consider the opportunity. What's the pain? What's the relief that you're trying to give to the consumers? And who are the competitors there? Are you able to add value? If yes, through which channel? And then how? You want to come first, e-commerce, test the market, find the right business partner, assess different distribution models, going wholesale versus distribution versus standalone versus, multi-brand retailers. It's all about, assessing those options, the opportunities. And then if you decide to invest, I always recommend the always on, even if it is small, but go small, but
consistently throughout the year.
Doing one thing at a time is not going to work. It's not going to build your business here. Yeah. The competition is huge. And there are the big brands, they are investing heavily. Okay. So let's take an example. Influencers. Influencers are huge, in this globally and in this region for sure. So maybe try to find the right digital creators, including influencers who are right to your business, for example, but try to create a long-term relationship. So maybe working with a medium size, I would say, digital creators and influencers between 2 to 5 maximum, but try to build a long relationship with them. Try to build that consistency, authenticity, and then let them be your ambassadors, and you can take it from there. And I'm sure that's not very costly. That should be something, you know, brands are able to I would say invest in.
Yeah, and I have two questions on that. So basically you answered. So influencer marketing is a big thing here, right? Because in many markets
everywhere
people are questioning, is this fatigue already?
Yeah.
But here is still
there is the de-influencing now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's still huge everywhere. Okay. And again, if today you are an influencer, Lud, and I gift you and I gift you a product, or I decide on a business relationship with you, and I come and tell you, okay, that's my brand, that's my business, that's my product, and those are the key benefits that you could explain to your following. If you're convinced, if you're the right influencer, if you're convinced yourself, if you are really in love, brands shouldn't work with influencers don't like their products. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you like the product, if it is relatable to you, if it is relatable to your following, you know, and if it is within your positioning. So if you are a lifestyle business or a luxury business, you need to find the right influencer for you. You want to find luxury influencer. If you are, I don't know, a more of lifestyle influencer, you need to find a lifestyle influencer for your business. So having that, I would say, very authentic, but of course it's a business relationship. Mm-hmm. That's something we know, but it has to be convincing and has to be long-term. It has to be always on. When consumers, they will come and see you, you use the product one time, twice, 3 times, 4 times, it means, okay, so
There's
she's
something
convinced
here,
there is
yeah.
something here, she's convinced. When they try, I'm talking here about products, you know, maybe a good example is beauty, for example. If they try your products, if you have a good product, if I started to see the results, it's very important. And, you know, if it is the product within the values that I aspire to use as a customer, you know, I'm going to probably stick around, and I'm going to be willing to try more, and I'm going to be willing to be loyal to you. And at some point, I will have to believe that that product is good, that brand is good.
Yeah, I think you're reading my mind, because the second question I was going to say, it's about loyalty.
Yeah.
So do you feel consumers here are loyal to brands?
It depends. It depends.
About what?
So it depends. If you have a very good, if you are a brand with a very good, really good quality product, I assure you, consumers after some time, once they try that product, they will stick around because they're loyal to your product and to your brand. However, if I try your product and I'm not convinced, of course, I'm not going to stick around. You know, I'm not going to try anything else related to your brand. So really around the quality of your product, but the service as well.
So
the service.
This is a very important part of our conversation, because many times these foreign brands are not ready, 100% ready, because this market is sophisticated.
Yeah.
People are demanding, the bar is high.
Yeah.
And when you come here, you can improve. You're like, oh, I can improve my product this way because I see how the market is, what is available in the market, my customer service. Do you think it's easy for brands to capture again this consumer that tried once, had a bad experience either with the product quality or the service, and still make it? Or you think it's a one shot?
No, I think they can still make it. So I know what I'm going to say could sound a bit crazy, but go back and do your focus group. Ask that question. I think
being authentic and genuine always helps.
In so many occasions, even in businesses and even with bigger brands, we take consumers for granted. When a customer, you know, leave you as a business or as a brand, I think a very good question is, and of course, when you do your surveys with customer and when you have the feedback around your customer, directly or indirectly, because sometimes maybe you don't have a direct access to consumers' data, but your partner could, a very relevant question is about the experience. A very relevant question is about the product. Are you going to recommend my brand or not? If not, why? If yes, why? and get into the data. Try to learn more about your consumers, and if they like your product, why do they like it? And if they don't, why not? And try to learn more of I would say the really not pleasant and negative sometimes reviews and experience, and try to evolve, the evolvement of your business, and try to relate more. I can give you a good example from the beauty industry, of course, complexion and for the ladies who are watching us, foundation, face, and powder and concealers are one of the biggest category in this region. So if you are a global brand, if you are a Brazilian brand, and you have in your product category of complexion, never considered, the Middle Eastern undertone, so that's a bit technical, and you come here and you brought in the same shades that you sell, I don't know, in Europe or Brazil or in US, without doing your homework on what are the shades that are expected to sell in this region, and did we consider the undertone of Middle Eastern and GCC consumers or not? So try to learn about the customers and try to figure out, did you consider the yellow undertone, the olive undertone, the golden undertone? If the answer is not, and probably that's why you're not able to sell that product if you are a beauty brand, try to do your focus group and try to work on your formulas in order for you to meet consumers' expectations.
Let's talk about trends in this market. Not only what comes here, what could potentially come to the UAE and expand to the GCC, but also what we're seeing recently, that UAE is exporting trends as well. One of the biggest cases is a chocolate brand. What else do you see in terms of market potential in and out?
So the market is very open, right? We live on social media. Thanks to the big platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, but TikTok in specific, I would say, exploited trends globally, not always in this region. And we have great examples of businesses born in this region, but then, managed to become global thanks to the fact that they were trending, on social media in specific. And global consumers got the chance basically to see the trend, and they wanted to be curious and try those products. And we have big brands from this region, such as, in beauty you have Huda Beauty, who is, of course, the superstar, and she
global
has a very
sensation.
successful business. Exactly. Dubai chocolate is no secret.
Yeah.
Inspired the whole world. I think it's all about, it goes back to the fact that consumers in this region as well, they have their own shopping habits and preference. And we actually are able as a region to export brands, great brands and great trends. So I would say it's a vice versa relationship. The consumers are very, I would say, influenced by trends from the globe. But today we are in a situation, and thanks to the positioning of big countries and big cities in this region, thanks to the positioning of Dubai, UAE, but as well to the super great evolvement of Saudi, and we're able, thanks to, of course, those countries, we're able to finally, I would say, attract the attention of the global consumers.
Yeah.
Customers want to know what's going on in the Middle East.
And the Dubai chocolate phenomenon, let's say, it goes back to the beginning of our conversation, as you said, right? Because they are keeping the essence, having the kunafa, the pistachio, having
That's very
this
localized.
local flavors, but adapting to many other markets that they are tapping
Absolutely.
into. I saw that they were in the South by Southwest with the pop-up shops. Of course, they adapt everything, but they always keep this essence from the Middle East, which is really nice. It's actually the core of the chocolate itself.
And it's very
right?
smart. Like,
But it's good to keep
kunafa and
this.
pistachio. We ate it all our life. Never thought that would go hand in hand, chocolate, and make a big brand out of it. So I would say, honestly, like, salute to the founder. What's a successful and inspiring story to learn from. So absolutely a confirmation that, going back into our roots and considering, I would say, our habits, our habits as customers
Yeah.
could and might actually be interesting to someone who is living in São Paulo in Brazil. So
Your
those
pronunciation is amazing.
good?
I'm actually shocked. Nobody gets it right in the beginning. Wow, you did your homework, I can see.
I did my homework.
I remember in many of our conversations, you said something about the Dubai brand.
Yeah, of course.
That this is the biggest successful story for a brand in
the
the
world.
world. In the world. So I want you to tell me more about it, because I agree.
My God, Lud. So I came to Dubai in 2005. I've seen it all, like many of the audience probably. They've been there long enough to see it. The building of of course UAE, but as well the Dubai brand. The consistent, I would say, consistent storytelling about being open to opportunities. For me, Dubai and UAE is the land of opportunities.
Yeah.
Not only for individuals, but as well for brands, and for businesses. That consistent messaging, right?
Yeah.
That
You mentioned consistency, and they are consistent.
and they are consistent. They have a vision. So that's very important. The same way that in your business you have your vision for your upcoming 3, 5, 10, 20 years. So here, of course, governments are doing absolutely fantastic work when it comes to their vision.
Yeah.
And how to influence globally, but where do they want to position their countries?
Yeah.
So
And the
their vision
values.
and the values.
So
Yeah.
you also mentioned in the beginning, having your core values, your team, and they are amazing at this.
Yes.
When I say they, it's like government and that
And individual
trickle
as
down
well, of
through
course.
all society, right? Because you see the openness to people, the welcoming,
The
of
respect.
many nationalities, the tolerance.
Yes.
So that is consistent as well
Yes.
throughout their messaging, throughout the storytelling. Not only that, it's not only talk, it's you walk the walk.
Absolutely.
Because when you come here, that's your experience.
Of course.
So it's the quality of whatever
It's the
you
experience
did.
it's the experience
Yeah.
of their brand. You
Exactly.
you come here, and sometimes I'm sure for someone who's coming from, I don't know, different part of the world, sometimes you come here and you're like, this country is so clean,
Yeah.
So that's consistent.
Yeah.
With the values they want to reflect.
Forward looking.
Forward looking.
Everything is tech. Let's embrace innovation. So they talk
Absolutely.
about it and they walk the talk. So
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan as well, but I do agree that if you take anything in terms of brand, this brand Dubai actually stands out
Absolutely.
across
Best-
sectors, across anything.
It's one of the best case studies to definitely reflect on, and so much to learn from.
Yeah. Talking about learning, what can we learn from mistakes that brands do here?
Not mistakes per se, but sometimes you come in and you don't succeed. So I think the big question is, what would you learn from your failure? Let's say you're a brand, you come in, you didn't succeed, you decided to exit the market. What do?
Yeah.
Don't enter anymore, re-enter, don't explore anymore. I think it's the reflection on what happened, what went wrong. Is it something fixable or not? Is it cultural? Is it
Do
relevance?
you have any case from whatever you've done of
So,
something like, we learned that we
think
shouldn't do that like that?
So everything around relevance and to the consumers, you can always, as a brand, reflect and refix. You can always be okay. You would reflect and assess and say, X campaign, X product is not relevant. Let's reinvent ourselves. Let's try next time to be more relevant. Let's really study the consumers very well and assess our value propositions in line with the customer expectations. So that's doable. Anything cultural, that's a bit tricky. You need to learn about the culture and respect the culture. So a fire, I would say a fire back coming from culture, a bit very critical for businesses.
That's
And I
another
think
reason why a local team member
it's very
plays a
important.
crucial role,
Crucial.
right?
And I think legal, that's absolutely critical as well. You need to ensure, your governance, your regulations, your governance is aligned with the regulations and how to do business, from that perspective. So of course, this region and UAE and Saudi leading, of course, lands of opportunities, but your business that has to be regulated. You need to, again, going back to the point of working with the right partner who is fully aware and expert with everything related to, how to really, from a legal point of view, build the business and how to do it as per the regulations. And then you take it one step further and you study the culture, and you need to have an expert, local, strong team plus your global team that they work hand in hand to ensure, that you're launching or you're doing business the legal way,
Yeah.
in line with the, of course, governance, but at the same time, relevant, you localize when you have to, you reflect your key competitive, you learn from your, I would say, pitfall and mistakes, and reinvent yourself to ensure successful in this part of the region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if a brand needs to survive only with storytelling, forget about partners, team, and everything, storytelling. What is a story that wins hearts and wallets in the region?
In the region. Tell the story of your brand. Tell the story of your brand. If you are a brand with a founder, tell the story of your founder.
Don't complicate stuff.
Exactly. I always like, especially within the business, context, I always say, let's be simple. Consumers are simple, are not complicated, right? We're all consumers. Let's make it clear, simple, straightforward. It could be as easy as telling the story of your brand, of your founder, of your team. You can start from there.
Do you think people would care if there is a mid-sized company that the founder is like a granny that does an amazing Italian pasta, the Italian secret sauce?
Yeah,
Would people care about her?
They do. They will. Because if the way you described, if she's Italian and she is the grandma, and she is exactly, I definitely care because I trust her. She does the best pizza sauce, and the best
as soon as you try, if the product is good,
exactly,
the quality and so on.
And I would love to learn about her and about her story, and that would be inspiring. And the storytelling is very important for businesses and brands to ask good questions. Are we inspiring enough? Are we honest enough, authentic enough? Are we relatable enough? Don't fake it. Don't try to copy someone else that, who is not you. Don't try to copy your competitors. The competition, I'm sure they've done a good job to be good and great competitors. Try to reflect on your own DNA and try to communicate your own values and storytelling and focus on your own story.
And people here, they are open to try, 100%.
Right? 100%. They're very
curious. They want something new.
Exactly.
This is actually one of the challenges when companies come from abroad, because people are always trying new things. So this is a very fast-paced market.
It is.
And you need to constantly reinvent yourself, be active, everything that we discussed. Yeah. But yeah, people are very open to try. That's very true.
Yes. So exploration is very important. The more you learn about the market, anywhere, not only in Middle East, the more you learn about your consumers, the more you have the opportunity to be relevant, reinvent yourself, and absolutely create new opportunities for your business.
Yeah. And what is a campaign or a product launch that made you feel like, damn, that really worked?
Okay, so probably people who will get the chance to check my profile will know that I actually, launched Kiko Milano in this region, a brand that I love and I admire, and they don't need an introduction. So, of course, they have a great business partner in this region, and we partnered during the launch of Kiko Milano on how to launch the brand in this region. So everything around the launch campaign, the fact that when we opened the first store, we had actually to ensure that we hire a security company because we knew there will be people queuing. I didn't believe until I've seen people queuing.
Wow.
So seeing a very long queue, people waiting for the store to open and achieving a high record sales during a first day, this is where you feel, damn, that was a great campaign, great entry strategy. Of course, they have a great business partner and they have
I
great
can imagine
team
the feeling
in this region. So,
because behind
course,
the scenes, we know the hard work that we put into making these things happen. So when you see that happening,
and they are a great brand because look at their latest campaign. They knew how to localize. They knew how to be relevant. They used and worked with influencers and ambassadors from this region who are very relevant to the brand and owning the same positioning.
Yeah.
And again, they have a great partner. So I mean
that
was a great a great example. I feel so grateful that I got the opportunity and chance to work with such a great brand.
For sure. And they were also very lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
But I also want to know the case that you felt it would pop, but actually flopped. Like, what did you learn from it as well? If you can share. You don't need to mention names.
I'm not going to mention names. I think, one of the brands I worked with, they refused influencer strategy completely, knowing how important are the influencers in this region. So they have a global, policy. They don't work with influencers. And of course, with my team, we were trying to explain how important is the influencer strategy in this region. Influencers are influential, as simple as that.
Yeah.
And so even though you have your global policy, coming in here, ignoring those, digital creators is not the best. It's not the best decision to take. So we went ahead as per the wishes of the brand, of course, because here we respect, and I'm personally with any brand I worked with, I always respect the brand strategy, of course, and my role has been always to deploy the strategy of the brand, but make it relevant to this region and to the consumers of this region. So I would never go against the principle of a brand. So if a brand comes in and say, thank you, we're not going to go ahead with that proposal, we're still going to go ahead as per the brand wishes.
Yeah.
So we went on, we didn't go with influencer strategy. 6 months down the line, they have realized that was not the best decision to take. And influencers are very important and key success factor, and we can't ignore.
But they made it right after that?
Afterwards, of course.
So they could still revamp themselves?
Of course, and they did it, and they have a great and huge success as we speak in this region. So that was a good, I would say, learning, not only for the brand, but even for me. I believe back then I should have more persistent that local recommendation is critical for your success.
Because you are the expert, that works.
You have to absolutely give the local team the chance to, execute the right strategy.
Give them autonomy because they know the market, right?
Yes, right.
And I have only 2 more questions that are very quick.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me a brand without something that you want to say in one word or in a few words. There's no chance to make in the UAE.
Without relevance.
Without relevance.
Big learning.
And relevance you build with everything that you just said.
Everything. Don't try to enter the market if you're not willing to be relevant to the consumers. So there are your key stakeholders.
It depends on you willing to be relevant. Yeah. Then everything else comes after that.
Customers are our key stakeholder. You're not willing to be relevant. My recommendation, don't take a chance.
Don't even start a business if you don't want to be relevant, right?
Relevant, locally relevant, Middle Eastern relevant to the target customer, relevant to your, You have your own positioning, you maintain your positioning, but then relevant with your pricing strategy. You need to study the market very well, have the right pricing strategy, have the right expansion strategy, have the right business partner, relevant, having the right team, you know, in the region. So this is what I meant by being relevant. This is actually a good recap
for our session. That's totally true. And final question. How do you feel the UAE could be more Brazilian? This is going to be the case for every episode now.
We need more music, more
music.
More chocolate.
More chocolate, more cacao.
More chocolate, more cacao, more music. Coffee culture is big here.
Yeah.
If you are a great coffee, you know, if you
coffee
have a business
lover.
with a coffee, exactly, coffee business model, come here.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Cosmetics, we have so
Brazilian,
many. Yeah.
You have so many great brands from Brazil. Are
exotic
very
ingredients. Yeah.
Very successful in this region. So if you are a beauty brand, and Brazilian beauty is very important for local consumers. Brazilian beauty is very important, appreciated, you know, by GCC and Middle Eastern consumers.
Yeah.
You can take a leap of faith and definitely come here.
Yeah. Brazilian beauty because we have Arabic influence. You
Absolutely.
Souha, thank you so much. It was so much fun, so insightful talking to you as always. And if people want to talk to you,
they need to talk to you, Lud. You get, you know, you got a great experience. You've been here long enough. You know the Middle East and you know the GCC very well. And
14 years and counting.
I know sometimes I feel you're more Middle Eastern than Brazilian. So Brazilians, talk to Lud.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
And guys, if you want to come to the UAE to expand in the region, talk to us. We have an amazing person here with all background. We can facilitate. And that's the end of our session today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.